We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
Gen Z, I'm worried about you a lot. And some of the stories I've seen in the last week or so, it really concerns me. Thanks for joining me here on the program for Depraved and Debaucherous, because some of you younger people, right, under 30, the younger listeners that like to listen to my audience, and ladies, you need to listen about this as well. Because men and women, this both concerns you both. But men, I'm worried about you. I'm worried. I'm going to say it like this. I've seen enough guys out there, when I go people watching, right? Go to the mall, go to, do my Uber stuff, and I get to see who comes in the car and where I'm taking people and riding them around and going to all these different places that people to go to, right? Brunches, mimosas, all this stuff, right? South Florida's a great place to go and see people watching and see what people like to go do and go when they go out. When the nightclubs are gone, they've dried up. The strip clubs are the place to go now because that's a bigger barrier for women to go, not be hit on or noticed or anything like that. Meanwhile, in South Florida where I'm at, it's one of the most beautiful women in the world. And especially in America. And it's sad. A story that I saw from Daily Mail really got to me. I was like, oh man, this is not good. So the Daily Mail's put out a story, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, what in the world's going on here? And I was like, oh, this is something I have to talk about here. A therapist, okay? No, a sex and relationship expert talked to dailymail.com and said that men who are sexually inactive can experience a very rare condition called penile atrophy, where penile tissue can become less elastic and causing it to shrink by 1 or 2 centimeters. So honestly, if you're not using your penis for sexual activity, this is including if you have a woman or a man, whoever your partner is going to be, that you are having sexual intercourse with, or when you're not and you're trying to go at it alone. Self-love. So your tissue will become less elastic, causing it to shrink by 1 to 2 centimeters. Wow. And also going a month or more without having sex may cause men and women to experience increased stress levels due to sexual frustration, anxiety, depression, and anger issues. Yeah, lack of love, which includes sex, right? A thriving, enjoyable relationship, a marriage that lasts a long time, it includes sex. And by the way, does it have to be sex like regular, missionary or have to be insertion? No. It can be third base. It can be one going down on the other, whatever you want. But sexual acts where these sexual organs are being stimulated. And you're telling me that this is the problem now that we're having? That Gen Z of legal age are having less sex than any generation in history. And experts warn it could be leading to genitalia shrinking. Your member. What's going on here? This is a major problem. And you got to ask yourself, what is causing all this? We know the dating apps are not helping. The fact that guys don't want to be called creeps. Listen, there's a girl that, I see quite often on my For You page and all this stuff. And if you see her, you know who it is, because I see her quite a bit. Blonde, really pretty. She's got huge tits. There's not even a doubt about it. She always wears something that's the top is very tucked in. Always, you can see the jiggle on her. Like, she obviously knows what she's doing. And she comes across and gives a very poignant thing to guys out there, or to ladies as well, making the point as to why guys are struggling right now to date women. She is pretty poignant here. Let's play it. About 1:12. Listen in.
So I want to talk about why men of this generation are scared of women. And I think it has to do with a bunch of reasons, and I'm going to go into it. But number one, dating apps has made it so that men do not have to risk anything to go on a date with women.
Now, I like where she says that, because the dating game that I talked about, we have to get back to that again. I said that a few months ago in the program. We have to get back to the dating game. You have to go back and realize that you can go back and, work your way through where you're enjoying, the pursuit of a woman. You also have to realize, okay, you need to whittle out, you need to filter out the ones that are not going to be good for you, that are all they're going to be doing is taking your time, your money, and your resources, and no reciprocation for anything that you're giving to her. Just because she's pretty. Can't do it. By both men and women being put behind dating apps, it also hurts the process. You can't get to know anybody on a dating app because the problem is the dating apps, the way we used to use them, when I remember using them, is you were on there for a short time, you connect, and then you meet. Because if you're not meeting in real life within the first, week, couple of weeks, a month at the most, something's wrong. It's nothing about going fast. Listen, the only part that's going fast is if you want to fuck. And that's not what we need to be worrying about here. If you're sincerely wanting to get to know somebody and you want to fall for them, it's got to be in person. For me, I know that one of the things I have an issue with, and I can't tell you how many times it happens, is that when I have to go and do dating apps, okay, I don't care about video because I'm not going to win on that, okay? Bald guy, bigger guy, many times that's going to be a disadvantage. But I'm smart. I know how to talk. Get me on a phone call with a girl, and I do wonders. I do really well. Like, I think the most successful chances I've gotten a girl on a date, the chance for me to get on a first date with a girl is if I talk to her. If she hears my voice, and I get to, really show my personality. If I really turn it on and I'm trying to impress, I get the first date. I can't tell you how many times that works. I can get the first date. I'm successful at that. It's everything else after that. Because the sustainability of is anything going to be coming out of it? Am I going to feel like that the girl's interested in me? And if I don't feel the signal, if I feel like there's nothing there, I'm getting out. I'm bailing out of it. And I move on to the next girl. I did it a lot of times. But holding on and hanging on, and for a girl to go and be upset that you're on a dating app and you're talking to other girls at the same time, yeah. Until I'm committed to you, yeah. My options are open. If you're upset about that, that tells me a lot about you. So, the dating apps are hard. And they really suck. Let me go and play more of what she's saying here.
Back in the day, you used to have to at least go to a bar and risk rejection in front of your friends or embarrassment or any sort of thing like that. Now it's just guaranteed. Men can go on an app and just swipe, and if you match with them, they know that you at least have interest in them, so there's literally no risk. Second, I think that...
Now, she's right on that. The bar scene is not where... Remember, Gen Z, we've talked about on this program, they don't drink as much alcohol. They're not the ones into White Claws or into any kind of seltzers or any kind of alcohol in general. They're drinking less. They might be consuming more cannabis, maybe not even that. But this is why we have more kava bars now than ever. So okay, hookah or, keeping it with mocktails and just not drinking at all. Because remember, even we're hearing at concerts that, they can't sell that much alcohol anymore because it's not selling as much as it did. You got to sell some other drinks, energy drinks. And that's not working either. And like I said, in South Florida, I can tell you, if you wanted to go to a nightclub like we might have done, not even 10 years ago, those are dead. I mean, you see the Spanish clubs, like black clubs, Jamaican clubs, all this kind of stuff. We had clubs. We had lots of clubs. And everybody used to go and frolic and go. And yeah, we would go and get rejected all the damn time. Oh my God, the clubs I went to, Club Safari, Flirts. Timmy on a Club Liquid or go to, all the restaurants that used to turn into clubs, Sforza and Mezzanotte. Oh man, those were fun. And I had the other clubs we used to go to. There was Club Lagoon, which I used to go there when I was underage. That was great. We had Caribe. We had all these places. We had Monkey Club. We had, oh my God. Oh, and Clamata Street and downtown West Palm Beach. We had Castle Club, Have a Nice Day Cafe. Oh, Underground Coffee Works. Man, we had some clubs over there. And a lot of places to go. And I'd go ahead and work it off with the bouncers and hey, talk them up, what this and that. And I'd go to whatever clubs there was. Monarch was up there too, right? It was a lot of these places. We had a Lost Weekend back in the day. You go to Roxy's. Oh man, we had a lot of places to go. So a lot of places you could find the girls. And then when you did, yeah, you were rejected left and right. You can go ahead and try to grab a girl's hand and she's like, it's yeah. And the girls would just go and take their rejections and just move along with their night. And you would try to go ahead and hit on girls that are in a pack. they're all together in a group and like, okay, you're not working with that, but like sometimes you get lucky. You find a girl that's she's walking to the bathroom, you kind of get her attention, and maybe she'll come talk to you, and maybe you have a chance to go and talk. But now, like I said, the strip clubs is where to go. Strip clubs. It's amazing where I hear now on New Year's Eve that more Uber rides I used to go and take for the younger people, they were to strip clubs. And they would go for that, and it's like a lot of girls with a couple of guys. And remember, the guys have to pay for everything. They're getting railroaded. First of all, the nightclubs towards the end anyway, we're already getting railroaded anyway. I know clubs that you go to now that you're paying $40 before you even get in the door. Right? $20 cover charge, maybe more. $20 for parking. They hit you boom, boom, boom before you get in the club. That's not even counting the nights there's concerts or events. You're paying $100 for somebody that might be playing 2-3 songs in a set, and that's it. And it's at the end of the night where you might not even be there. Okay, that is also gone. Like the accessibility, girls would be much more conducive and much more relaxed if they might have had a cocktail or two, right? And then maybe you have a chance to go ahead and get them when they're a little bit more calm and relaxed in a public space. A lot of people. But that whole idea of trying to meet people, just out like at a grocery store or, bookstore or, just out in the street, tough. But how many times do we hear people about, we met at a club, right? Or we met through friends at a club, like things like that. But that doesn't happen anymore. She's absolutely right about that. Isn't it a shame? But it's true. Let's go to number 2 part that she says.
No risk. Second, I think that people having phones and girls always recording things definitely scares men because they always think that like a girl is going to record them and call them a creep. Men are so terrified of being called creeps. I think it's like one of the things that they fear the most. They never want to be that creepy guy. And now in this generation, everything's recorded and put on TikTok. So they're scared about that. And the third reason I think men are scared of women is because they just don't have motivation due to pornography and things like that to even go on dates. And they're so scared of being like called a creep or getting like accused of something that it's easier for them to just stay inside. I'm not saying this is an excuse, and men, you need to get out there and get over this, but I'm just explaining why I feel like men truly are scared of women in this generation.
I like what she said. She's right on all that. And by the way, I'm going to just add a little addendum to the pornography. It's not even pornography of the normal kind, like the normal free porn that we can all watch, okay? Trust me, you want to go find a site, you can go find free porn. It's so much accessible. It's so much more accessible than ever before. Okay. That's the other part. The fact that there are young guys that not even masturbating now when they have free porn out there. I mean, it's not like it was where, it had to be like a paywalls and this and that, and the videos didn't play as well, and the pictures weren't as clean as they were. And you don't want to go inside a grimy bookstore or video store to go like find, that kind of stuff. Different times. But let me tell you. The part about the girls that are, it's all about the gram, all about TikTok, and they go out there like the girls that you see, and then they're going to try to go ahead and they want to be influencers. They want to go ahead and, let social media run their lives. That's bad. That's addictive. That's not good. Porn, also not good. But, the only reason that a lot of guys will go to porn is because of the fact of the lack of sex, the lack of intimacy. The lack of any women, because let me tell you, if this kind of problem was not existing, if more guys and gals had, like, remember, how many generations do we have before us? Generations before my time. They didn't have porn like they do now. Remember, porn wasn't even that big a deal. Before the 80s, we didn't have that. Unless you want to go find a dirty mag. But how often do we go find a dirty mag? And, like, how often are you going to look at it and stare at it? Not much. So the thing is that, you have cameras now, you have phones, and when the girls want to go ahead and start taking pictures and start taking videos of everything, makes the guys uncomfortable. And it's like, no, this is just you and me. Why are we sharing all this stuff? And again, the stuff that's being done by the girls out there where, social media, if any kind of commentary, any kind of judgment is allowed by social media on anybody that you're with, then you're never going to win. It is a no-win situation because you have so much going on now that just says, there's too much going on. Too much going on, you're not going to win. So this young lady here, she's right about all this. And unfortunately, it's girls like her that, she's pretty, she's got a great body. Yeah, people are going to pay attention to her. Guys are going to pay attention to this, and hopefully they get the message. And trust me, it's gotten out there. Like this one video in particular already got over 1 million views on X, and I'm sure it's more in other places because she gets her word out there a lot. I've seen her videos a lot. Listen, they drop on my For You page, I'm going to watch. What do you want me to do? I'm a guy. But is it also the fact that, if there's the issues for guys that, they're questioning their sexuality, right? The part about, how many guys right now are questioning, if they feel like they want to be with a woman and that they feel that masculine energy, that masculine power that want to go ahead and they want to be turned on and have sex with a woman. Is that starting to be lost in the translation? The part of the pornography, by the way, too, anime. Let me tell you something. Anime, those Japanese people must be getting off of that stuff, okay? Because the anime stuff that I've seen out there, there's always girls. There's all these anime characters and cosplay and stuff like that, which is more like almost like childish. But you see these animated characters, the girls and like super cleavage on them, right? And like, the Mesago face or whatever. And, they got the giggles and all this kind of thing. And it's like very submissive, very, weak and feminine. And like guys will just be, there's a lot of guys that are going gaga with that. But the guys are not willing to go ahead and get themselves together. Be men. I mean, look, it's one thing if you're gay and you're also like have that sexual drive. But when you don't have any sexual drive at all because of something, no sexual drive at all, what's going on there? And it's just going to be a going trend. I mean, look, social media is going to be a detriment. And whatever people are seeing on social media is detrimental to, a woman's reproductive system, a male reproductive system, and for the fact that people being happy. Why do we have so many kids that are anxious and depressed? Besides the fact that maybe the family structure is not great, or what they're seeing on social media also is bringing them down, right? But sex, for whatever reason, man, that really does answer a lot. Yeah, you want to go and be like, sanctimonious. This program is not the sanctimonious. Okay, we're not here about talking about religion. Oh, there's no premarital sex. I don't think it's even the abstinence that these kids are trying to do. I don't think it's even that. I think it's much more than that. So now back to the expert here, which if I try to say her name, it is really hard. Dr. Tara Suwinyattichaiporn. Yes, porn is in the last part of her name. The last 4 letters of her last name. Now, despite the positive attachment to sex, a 2021 California University study found 38% of young people between the ages of 18 and 30 reported they hadn't had any sexual partners in the previous year. Yeah. And experts have warned that having sex over weeks, months, or years can have harmful effects on the human body. Yeah, because you gotta, when you have sex, it is a process. It's like riding a bike. You still got to be able to know how to ride, unless you don't. She explains that most people need affection, touch, and sexual connections with others, and without it, your mental health can deteriorate, causing anxiety, depression, and increased levels of stress. By the way, how many young people have you lost to suicide that could have changed if there was some love in their life? I mean, it's one thing to have love of family and friends, but to love the one that you are intimate with, that you're attached to, that you consummate your relationship with, right? That's a different story. Having sex releases feel-good hormones like oxytocin, the love hormone, dopamine, and serotonin, which regulate your emotions and boost your mood. Dopamine is a chemical that the brain releases to make you feel pleasure, but if your body doesn't produce enough of it, you can develop insecurities and lower self-worth. And to think how many guys right now that are growing up now in this age where, they're not getting a chance. Like, what kind of stuff are they being told that they can't do? I mean, think about the fact that the guys that are alpha males, and everybody said, hey, work on yourself, and things will be better for you. But, what are they going to do about the fact that they're going to have sex? I mean, meaningless sex. No, having sex with people that somebody you care about, right? So now, a 2021 study also suggests that people with unmet sexual needs can develop frustration that may lead to an increase in aggressive behavior. Incels. Simps to become incels. Right? Remember that. And the thing is that when I look at what's going on here, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys, if they're not even able to have sex with anybody, like it's being so much more difficult for them, the guys are not going to make it easier for themselves. You know, it's on the women to quit believing in all this stuff that's being out there in supposed thoughts of, you know, that you have this lack of power, this lack of control, this lack of authority. What feminism teaches. Remember, I talked about the young lady, the lady that I talked to, and I played a clip here on the program about Dharmic feminism. Remember, softness, sexuality, you know. You remember all the things that I told you about when it comes to what it is that makes a woman, her femininity is her power. Remember I said that. And I talked about in the 4 different things that she brought up here. Priti Upala, right? I brought up the part about the various things that you have, that a woman has, that makes her, you know, a woman, makes her feminine. That is wonderful. Remember I told you that a woman's real power, according to Preeti, when she wrote a story about this, about the kind of female empowerment the world needs, in an Indian woman, she proudly wears her femininity. Her real power is in her vulnerability, beauty, softness, and sensuality. Secure in her power, does not need to feel the need to prove it or to bring someone else down to validate her own self-worth. And when women can't offer their charm, softness, vulnerability, and love, when they feel like they can't be that, they're not allowed to be that because, you know, society says it's not allowed. Well, that's when you have the problems that we have where, you know, how many women are also suffering from this? Maybe they're having sex, but they're having meaningless sex with somebody that they want that's not going to want them. What good is that? So a small percentage of guys get all the sex and all these women are getting, you know, they're just getting destroyed and broken. That's not good at all. They also make the mention of here with this study, which, like I said, I think this is where incels come from. This kind of behavior is where we get incels from. The frustration can arise from the unfulfilled desire to have sex, not having an available partner, or engaging in unsatisfying sexual activities which can lead to heightened irritability and mood swings. Also leading to an increase in the risks of aggression, violence, and crime associated with release seeking, power seeking, revenge seeking, and displaced frustration. And if couples are experiencing a sexuality in their relationship, they don't approach their partner with softness, vulnerability, or request for compromise, according to sex therapist Sari Cooper. They go on to say that they also don't have the technique to repair conflicts and instead blame one another, pursue the other with continuous criticism, or elicit a guilty response in order to get their needs met. Narcissism. Manipulation. Doesn't work. Going through a dry period is normal, but going too long without sex can cause major problems with your partner. They also talk about the LA Times report that says that 22% of people who reported not having sex in a year from a decade earlier. So the doctor here, Dr. Tara Suwinyattichaiporn, warned that more extreme symptoms can arise from sexual withdrawal, including penile and vaginal atrophy, pain during sex, but added the caveat could take upwards of 5 years without sex to occur. Men are at a higher risk of developing medical issues like penile atrophy and prostate cancer if they abstain from having sex for a long period of time. Hear that again. The guys that get these issues could suffer from prostate cancer. That's not good. That's seriously a problem. Researchers believe that carcinogens can build up in the prostate over time, increasing the risk of cancer, but studies have found that ejaculation may prevent it because it flushes out the harmful chemicals that build up in the semen. So masturbation being good for you because it helps you to avoid prostate cancer. Any impurities that are in your prostate, that ejaculation can help prevent it. A 2016 study also said that men who ejaculated at least 21 times each month have a lower risk of developing prostate cancer than those who ejaculated just 4 to 7 times a month. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of guys that probably won't have prostate cancer. So now you understand what you're doing when you're, grabbing your boy and you're spanking away. Likewise, when a woman goes without sex for months, it causes vaginal atrophy, making intercourse uncomfortable and sometimes painful. Sexual activity increases the blood flow, lubrication, and elasticity of vaginal tissues, but without it, a woman can develop vaginal atrophy when the tissues become thin and dry, shortening the vaginal canal, making penetration more difficult. This is all not good. So, if people are not getting turned on, if these young people are not doing anything at all, and they're just not having fun anymore, that's a big problem. What are you going to do about that? It concerns me. And so, guys, gals, younger than 30, I'm telling you, you got to fight through this. You can't let social media run your lives. You have to go and break the cycle. You have to find your self-love. Listen, you don't have to be tied down to a relationship or anything like that. But you know what? Make yourself open. Work yourself better so that you make yourself the best version of yourself so that you are desirable. And don't be afraid of what you want. Just go get it. Just go get it. If I had to tell myself, oh my goodness, if I could tell my 20-year-old self, oh my God, if I told my 20-year-old self to quit going after the girls I keep pursuing, the wrong ones, which I did for years, but I had a lot of issues with myself that I really never got over. Not until later in life. But one of the things is that if you had things that happen to you, you have to address them. Hell, even when I went to therapy in my 20s, I didn't address my problems. Not this kind of problem. Something more specific. But I didn't address everything. And I wish I did. Because the thing is that there's a reason why, when I was going through and, again, for 20 years plus, I kept going after the wrong girls. The girls that got friend zoned me. The girls that I've told you about on this program, whose names I did not give. When I've gone through that, I realized that, if I got to talk to my younger self, save my money, get myself in shape, and start going after girls that are worth my time and start seeing my self-worth. Because I didn't for a long time. That was a mistake. Also, I was worried about being attached to somebody. Because at that time, I didn't think it was necessary. I wasn't worried about marriage or children. It wasn't in the cards for me. I never really thought about it. It wasn't something I was wanting. That's another issue I didn't think about enough. And I should have. A couple of stories I want to bring up before we wrap things up. We'll go a little bit longer tonight. Gigi Fong and Hype Bay actually talking about, is a breakup sex always a bad idea? And Gigi says here that breakup sex in theory is an amazing idea. It hits all touch points, pleasure, comfort, and perceived healing. But last time for sex for starters is really ever the last time. And if it is, are you prepared to part after amazing, vulnerable, and emotional sex? Exactly not. It can also spark feelings of regret afterward if you're not proud of your decision. But as humans, we listen to our urges more than our subconscious meaning. You won't know it was a poor decision until post-nut clarity enters the chat. Correct. And that's the part where you got to figure out, you just can't give people that many chances. Like, sometimes it works. Very rarely. But that's the other part, too, that women need to move on from the bad relationships they're in as well. Because they have their own issues of mental health that they've gone through and mental, calamity, and they never addressed them. That's another thing where women might get drawn into the wrong men. Because then there's also men that, are, again, manipulative, controlling, and not good. But somehow they're able to go and get the kind of girls that a lot of guys like me wanted instead. And that changes. It's not good. Now, here's the other thing, too, that was very interesting that I saw in all the things that I was looking at this week. So, on Instagram, there's someone by the name of @poetic_style. She says she cut off her best friend. No longer talking to her anymore. Because her best friend cheated on her boyfriend. And she was saying that, quote, "To me, loyalty is loyalty. If you'll cheat on someone you're in a committed relationship with, what would you do to me?" She goes on and talks about this. Let's go ahead and bring this point up.
What you can do to me, my best.
Okay. I'm going to play this real quick. Take a listen.
On her man of 3 years. So I no longer have a bestie. I know some people are going to call me a bad friend, but I really don't care because you know what? Loyalty is loyalty to me. And if you're going to cheat on somebody you're in a committed relationship with, what are you going to do to me? What are you going to do to me? My best.
And so she broke off with her best friend. And she was right about that. Because how many times do we also have that same issue where a friend, again, bros before hoes, right? How many times do we have an issue where if a guy is interested in another guy's girl, let me tell you like this, okay? There was a girl that I was interested in, and I met her first. No, actually, two girls. One I met from a friend of mine, but she was not interested in me at all. And this was the other issue I had where I was kind of pursuing the wrong girls because she was the wrong one for me, but she was my type. There was a type I was looking for. And I met them, from a friend. And then the other one, man, it takes me back to time. When I think about these stories, it just kind of it's the stories I feel the regret and all that kind of stuff, the negativity. But I have to tell them, I have to get this out of my system. There was one girl that I met. First of all, she lied to me on the dating app. Well, not a dating app, it was a dating site. So it was her best friend that she was stepping in for. So, her best friend was the girl I was interested in. But I ended up talking to her other friend, who was the one that put the page up there for her, supposedly, because she was trying to help her find a date. But instead, she wanted to go and talk to me now. I found out she's underage, because I was, 24, 25, and she was 16. I went out with her once, and really, I was about ready to go ahead and fall into it because she was attractive, at the time I met her. Yeah, she was pretty and others, but I couldn't do it. It wasn't everybody talked me out of it. I got talked out of it. Fine. Best friend, one of my best friends talked me out of it. I praise him for that. He's always been good to me. Second, another friend of mine starts fooling around with her. Actually, two of them. Because one goes after her, and then the other one, who's been a long time best friend, also decided. Because one of those things where okay, she wasn't interested in me, but, my best friend, he went ahead and spent time with her. But I didn't feel so bad about it because she had changed a lot. It was a difference between the time I met her and then when she got older. We're talking about 10 years later, he reconnected to her. And she had already had a kid, and she was already in a bunch of bad relationships. Everything went downhill from there. It's So I wasn't interested in her at this point at all. I saw the difference in her, and she's no, night and day difference. So after that, I saw all the damage that got done because he was chasing after her, which was her type, his type, which is also broken girls too. We both had this, that's how we get along so well, because we were also going after the same kind of girls that were not good for us at all. Only problem with him is that he had more issues when the breakups happened, and when he really put himself deep into relationships that were not good for him, he just went in there head on, and they were not good to him. They were really bad relationships, and he got damaged badly from those. And he's also the issue where he's my age, and he can't go after anybody else either. He doesn't have the interest. It's just when he's broken up, it hurts him a lot. I'll just say it like that. And there have been some times where I had to bail him out because of things that happened. So, and that was us in our 20s. Again, we did some stupid things, but we were trying to look for love. We were trying to pursue. We were trying to do something, okay? And that's one of the things that I need to go and tell my listeners out there, my younger listeners, please heed old King of Podcasts here, your Uncle King of Podcasts. Listen to this. Do not give up on opportunities to find love and happiness. Don't let yourself go down to anxiety, depression, or shrinkage because of what this professor says here. Don't let that happen either. We don't want that to happen. What needs to happen is you need to go ahead and realize that it might be a little bit harder to find who you're looking for, but stop looking for the broken ones. Get yourself together and realize you need to have sex. You need to have love. You need to have intimacy. You need to be able to touch, hold, feel whoever you want to be turned on to. You need to be able to be depraved and debaucherous